consensus is shaking. Strategic interests of developed and developing countries are seen to be converging. Simply, the world order is on the move from vertical, where Western political systems, wealth, and ideas are dominant, to horizontal, in which there will be cooperation, mutual learning, and perhaps benign competition between different ideas and systems. The transition towards new equilibrium seems to be imperative. A number of developing countries, including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, along with Indonesia and Turkey, are on a journey to catch up with the developed nations. Today, India and China are emerging powers. They have already started leaving footprints on the world. The rise of China and India, the economic and political heavyweights, has changed the predictable list of great powers in the 21st century.
As all empires before have done. And another consisting of a group of countries that are starting to take over. The second mega trend is that a generation or more of debt has to be washed out. The current global financial structure is simply unsustainable. Global debt cannot go on increasing at a rate faster than global GDP. That's a simple fact of life. Change, though, cannot be made when things look more or less normal. Restructuring can only be made in a crisis, and a crisis is coming. First, let's look at the geopolitical megatrend. We need to recognize that global conflict is a real risk, as the world hopefully transits from a unipolar structure into a multipolar one. Our hope is that this transition can be managed with a minimum of conflict, though history shows that such an outcome is questionable. Nor does a 1,000-year cycle of wars give us much hope. For these cycles show that war is now at the highest amplitude since the Korean conflict. These comments are not intended to suggest that war is inevitable, but that the risk is high enough for us to consider making contingency plans. Empires fail because a sense of omnipotence sets in, because the system becomes corrupt, because empires overreach themselves, and because, in order to pay their bills, the currency is debased. What has happened to the US dollar over the last century bears a remarkable resemblance to how the Romans debased the silver content of their coins. And spiraling domestic spending without looking at costs of maintaining an American empire of more than 700 military bases in more than 120 foreign countries. Does that not remind you of the Roman Empire? What must be worrying the planners in Washington has been the rise of China as an economic powerhouse, the China-Russian Strategic Alliance, the development of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Infrastructure Development Bank that China has established by Washington policies. But what worries Washington is the declining influence of the petrodollar. Few are being recycled back into the USA. It is why America embarked on foreign